Please welcome Dr. Freckelton on behalf of the Bar Council.
Thank you very much, especially for such a generous introduction. Your Honours, Imam, colleagues, honoured guests and friends, good evening and welcome to this fine occasion. I too acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we're meeting and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd like to start by thanking the Australian Intercultural Society for partnering us to host this important event. It's a wonderful event. It's overdue and it is absolutely marvellous to be participating in a spiritual and in a diverse event which represents the contribution of so many within our community. We hosted the first dinner in May of 2019. We were sorry not to be able to do it last year, but we're delighted to see familiar faces and some new faces this year. As you've heard, diversity at the bar is important to the Bar Council and to all of our members. When you made your way up here, you would have seen a variety of paintings of people on the walls. There was a certain sameness to many of those portraits. A great many of them were of males, and the bar has been traditionally dominated by a limited cross-section of people. But it's changing, and it is marvellous that it is changing. And it's a measure of the changing times that we are gathered at an event such as this. In 1969, which is 52 years ago, there were only 8 women who had signed the bar roll, and only 1 who had taken silk. Our first Indigenous barrister, Professor Mick Dodson, signed the bar roll in 1981, 40 years ago. And by 2000, we only had a very modest number of barristers from Asian backgrounds who had signed the bar roll. I'd like to tell you of our various Muslim barristers and give you a bit of a potted history of their contributions to the bar, but it's a little early to do that. But I can see looking around that perhaps in my very late years at the bar, I might be able to do that and to tell you of those early days when the first Muslim barristers commenced at the bar. I just want to give you a few bits of information about the changing profile of this institution. Apparently 15% of our members were born overseas, 37% had parents, at least one of whom was born overseas. 9% of our members speak a language other than English at home. 1.2% of our members are Indigenous, which is roughly what is represented in the general population. 32% of our members are women. All of this diversity is making a real difference to the richness of the bar and to our capacity to represent the diversity of multicultural clients in the community. Many of our members show extraordinary commitment to providing pro bono services, especially to people of vulnerable situation and of diverse backgrounds. We strongly commit to representation that is equitable, dynamic and inclusive of all parts of the community. That work has been done by the Bar Councils of recent years, and you have my undertaking that I will do everything within my power to make sure that the current Bar Council adheres to those policies and important changes which have been implemented in recent times. Thanks to the commitment of a number of the people here, steps toward diversity and tolerance and awareness of all manner of different parts of our community is improving at this bar. It needed to be candid with you. I'm therefore delighted that we have here today the Deputy Chair of the Victorian Bar's Equality and Diversity Committee, Astrid, who will moderate an important panel session in due course. We have much to learn from many of those who are present at this dinner. I want to close with you by saying that many who come from communities who have faced historical disadvantaged and continue to deal with discrimination are walking a long path toward equality and inclusion in the law and within the general Australian community. We have much that we can learn from them. The fight for equality and inclusion is not only not yet won, it's still in its relatively early stages. But what I can discern from my years at the bar is that the changes that one can see in the community are now being represented at the bar, and that means that we can do our job better in catering to the needs of those whom we're called upon to represent. I'd like to thank the Bar's Equality and Diversity Committee and the Bar Events team, as well as the Executive Director of the Australian Intercultural Society, Ahmed Keskin, for their hard work in putting this dinner together. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of an event genuinely infused by spiritual awareness and by a part of a community which has often been unfairly stigmatised. This is a happy time. It's marvellous to be part of it. Thank you so much for coming to this dinner with us. We look forward to many more. Thank you.